All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the back room. Today we're going to be talking about the RIP because the RIPD was already a movie and that one didn't do too hot. We're talking about Ben Affleck and Matt Damon together in a movie, trying to do movie magic together. I'm here today with Cox.
What's up, everybody?
And getting right into it, the crime thriller, character drama, the rip is what I'm thinking it's supposed to be. Everyone's gonna say the RIP. I said the RIP. It is the rip because of whatever they do in the movie, and it got me a little bit with the beginning thumbnail of it, a cop driven movie. We haven't seen one in a while. And I thought it was going to be another slow burn, maybe another plain Jane bust down with a complex plot and just a Ben Affleck shit show altogether. I didn't think Ben and Matt were going to pull it off.
Well, as when the trailer came out, I thought, okay, I thought it was gonna be an action-packed crime thriller. Um, I didn't know how I would trust Affleck and Damon together again, but trailer-wise, it came across like it was gonna be pretty action-packed and you know, damn good thriller. So
A lot of people say Matt Damon, Ben Affleck together, and from what I've seen, they've done Dogma. They got Good Will Hunting. They got some notable things in there, but most of the stuff that they've produced together hasn't really been on the radar for people to be like, okay, I'm gonna go back to that Ben and Matt movie, check that out, see what they've been up to now.
I mean, this the generation now. A lot of people don't remember Goodwill Hunting, and you type up Damon Affleck, that's the first thing that comes up. It was a good movie back then. They worked well together in the early days. I mean, I don't know how many awards that thing won, but
That's back when movies were on VHS.
yeah. And then Dogma, I think that that's a Kevin Smith film, early 2000s, and more so of a comedy. And you could tell they really knew each other, played off each other really well. It was a decent comedy.
Basically, they were more than likely reliving their college days.
Basically, it was just two buddies doing a movie together, and I mean it was decent. I'll give them that.
So
But
we get Glenn from The Walking Dead. I don't remember what his actual actor name is. We get insert random black chick, and she comes with a little bit of pizzazz. Then we get insert Mexican chick, and she has strong values. Then we have the company commander, which is Damon, and he's this like elusive white dude with his white friend. I'm putting a lot of emphasis on the race of it because the director or however they portrayed the characters, they really leaned into those races. I thought for the movie.
yeah, there's a lot of it. A lot of it going on now. And I'll give Netflix a huge kudos because they didn't put nobody. You didn't have a gay dude in there.
They didn't just randomly insert them in
Yeah.
there.
So I mean that. I mean, it's what you expect nowadays. I thought, the characters that they picked for this, the actor wise, pretty decent. I mean, you got, the dude from The Walking Dead, and I don't know if he was any of those Fast and Furious. I don't know, but
No, that was a whole different Asian dude. He wasn't in
I
any
mean,
of the
fuck,
Fast
they
and
look
Furious.
alike. I'm sorry, they look alike. That's the same with the whites. But it's a Hollywood power play. A power pair coming across trying to do a crime thriller. It
But
was
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. I don't really think when I think of a power pair, I'm thinking Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. Maybe I don't know. Maybe just Mr. and Mrs. Smith just sticks with me too well. Or I'm thinking with any of the Adam Sandler people put together. You put Adam Sandler with what is Jennifer Aniston. I think good chemistry. I think Gerard Butler was doing it with I don't remember that white lady's name, but they were, um, what was it? The Bounty Hunter?
Oh, Aniston. He was with Jennifer Aniston, I think, in that one, The Bounty Hunter.
Was it Jennifer Aniston in
Yeah.
that one? I'd have to look it up later, but I think that there were I'm not saying that Butler and Aniston, if that was the case, and I'm not saying that they're in the same caliber, but what I'm saying, like, the presence of the chemistry of two people playing off each other. I don't really think of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in that role together. Besides nowadays, maybe I just never watched enough of their films together.
Yeah, and I don't think there's, you know, recently there hasn't been too many. Automatically, every time I see those two together, I automatically think Good Will Hunting. It just goes back to that shit. But I mean, since then, I mean, Matt Damon's kind of had a pretty successful career. He's pumping out, every other movie's a pretty decent hit movie, and then, you got Ben Affleck. He does, he's got a good movie, then he'll put out a shit show. Um,
I really think that he thought that his whole Batman thing was gonna pop off. That should have
Dude,
took him in a direction.
you can't be Batman when you need fucking Guido the tent maker to build you a fucking helmet because his head's so damn big. That shit just looks stupid. I mean, Batman's head ain't supposed to be 3/4 of his damn body. That dude's got a huge
Well,
nugget.
they rectified that whole thing with doing the whole Robert Patterson thing. So they went full Waterhead down to Twink.
Yeah,
So
they were wasting a lot of money CGIing his fucking head into that thing.
there's there's nothing there's nothing about the Rip that would have insinuated to me that it was gonna be the type of movie that it was. I heard a little bit about it. I didn't watch the trailer because I heard so many good things about the Rip that I was like, oh, it was one of the. But if you compare it to any movie that's come out recently, there ain't really been enough movies to go to the movie theater to go watch. You can't really say me and my old lady we went out to the movie theaters to see the next Marvel thing, the next DC thing, the next Gerard Butler movie. I mean, he's putting his movies out on, I think it's Amazon Prime, Greenland,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're gonna do Greenland too. Everything's hitting straight to stream, straight
Yeah.
to stream.
And I think that's where, the popularity is. That's where the people are. Not a lot of people going out to the movies anymore. They rather, stay home, stream Netflix. I get it, but I do miss the movie days. You going out and you know hitting the movies and watching a good one. This I think would have done well in a theater. Um, Coming across watching the trailer, presents itself as this fast burning, crime thriller. It does kind of drag out a little bit in that for the front half, but it does pick up, and it would have been a good movie to see in the theaters.
Right off the bat, when the movie got going into its, like, it was getting into its the lead up to it, and the Damon was giving out the different numbers of, oh, this, the we got a tip, and it was like 2,500 here, 7,500 there, 150,000 there. I was like, oh, this dude's dirty. This dude is up to no good, and the whole time it had me on the ropes thinking that him and that chick were in cahoots together. I was just like, okay, so they're part of the team that be taking that money off the top, and that's how this story is gonna go. But how many people are gonna die for this money? That's what I thought what was gonna happen.
Yeah, it definitely came across that way. The first, I'd say the first 3/4 of the movie, like you thinking Matt Damon's just oh, this piece of shit, this is scumbag, and then towards the end it's like, oh, and, then they hit you with it they hit you with that twist. It's like,
I was
oh,
thinking now that you couldn't, like, you couldn't make Damon dirty if he was to be bad in this. I don't know if he's ever played a bad guy. So maybe that should have gave it away that he wasn't going to be a bad guy in this one, because I don't ever remember him playing the role of a bad guy.
come to think of it, I don't remember. I don't think Damon's played a bad guy, and he's played a piece of shit, and
Ben?
Affleck, I think he's, in a couple movies he's played the piece of shit, but then at the end he comes around and he's a fucking good guy again with his big ass waterhead.
Even in that movie Gone Girl.
Oh man, now we're jumping down that. I can't even remember that one. I know he comes across as the piece of shit, but then in the end of the movies he always works out to be like this fucking, oh, it's all right.
So with $20 million on the table, you walk into someone's house, you go there for a mediocre run-of-the-mill bust, find $20 million in the back of a wall. What are you doing with it?
Well, I think everybody's got that thought of, damn, that's a lot of money. That being said, man, you got to really trust the people you're with. If you were thinking about skimming a little off the top, I mean, I'd definitely be thinking about it. I mean, I don't know who wouldn't.
But everyone's got to be in on it. If a crew that I was with, I'm thinking of the people that I know, the crew that I would have taken into that job, I think we all would have came out with some money. That's not the best thing to do, but I mean, $20 million sitting on the table. I mean, for $20 million, if we're talking about the movie just in its own right, for $20 million, I would have picked a different black chick for the movie. I probably would have got Rihanna, or probably would have thrown Zendaya in there. I mean, it's a Netflix movie. I know most of these, Rihanna ain't done much in a while. I ain't seen her since Battleship. And Zendaya's over there hanging out with Tom Holland. But when we had picked the caliber of actors for this movie, we got a whole bunch of, I guess, B-list actors, I'd say, and then we got the most of the budget went to Ben and Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't see Zendaya in there. I mean, she's built like a 13-year-old boy. I mean, shit. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I mean, shit. I'd take a Sydney Sweeney in there.
But so the cast has to be diversified, because that's what seems like what they went for. You had two white people, so we were already over limit. They ended up with
shit. Robert Downey Jr. did that blackface.
What you talking about? What you talking about? You people.
Shit, I don't know. I've always been partial to Halle Berry, but I guess that's just the nostalgia.
Yeah, Halle ain't did nothing in a while. Jennifer, you couldn't get Jennifer Lopez. She ain't done nothing in a while.
Oh, you definitely couldn't get Jennifer Lopez. Fucking Affleck be cucking over that girl.
Yeah, forgot they had history.
Boy, he'd be in the corner trying to fucking get Matt to swoop on that so he could fucking cuck some more. Dude, I mean, shit. I think that plays off his on and on roles. I think he only gets good roles after he fucking does some stupid shit with a chick.
The Netflix movie that we did end up getting, it was good enough. I think it was good enough for people to go pay money for. I mean, they threw Aladdin and fucking The Lion King, the real life adaptations of these movies in movie theaters. The Rip could have been a movie for the family to go see, for people to talk about, give me a reason to go out of town to go have a date with the old lady. It was a fair Netflix movie that we did end up getting. And I think that the way that it was all put out, it reminded me a little bit of a Guy Ritchie film, mixed in with a little bit of I can still follow it. Because if you watch anything from Guy Ritchie, Snatch, Gentleman, which is getting a season 2, by the way, for some reason. I couldn't even keep up with the first episode, but it seemed good. Guy Ritchie be all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, I expected, my expectations were really high with this movie. And then after watching it, I felt like, if the movie The Town had a baby with the movie SWAT with Colin Farrell, I think if those two babies those two movies had a baby, it'd be this fucking thing. And it comes out and it looks like a waterhead. It's all right. It's all right. It's functional. It's functional.
It is passable for what it needed to be. And for me, I think that it was a way for Ben Affleck and Matt Damon to more than likely get a paycheck. There ain't no real competition at the moment for action films. The way that this movie played out was like a good first episode of any standard TV cop show out there. I think Criminal Minds or NCIS could have did the same similar setup and led into about 3 seasons worth of it, building off each individual character.
I mean, what you got was a decent film. That being said, a lot of these, crime thrillers, a lot of them have like the same aspect of what's going on. There's not, a lot of these movies coming out aren't really like, they're not giving you with just something like you haven't even thought of. I mean, this one gives you like the money thought. Like, hey, would you take that money? What would you do? Which, okay, but it's something. I think you're still waiting for one of those movies to come across like, shit.
This is almost like a recreation of a movie that came out. I want to say it was in like 1992, and so there was I don't remember the exact name of it. The movie would probably be in the back, but there was an airplane crash, and the airplane crashed, and on this airplane, the people went to go recover what was on it. They had a job to do. They went up there. They found out it was a whole bunch of money, and then people got killed off as the money was getting retrieved. I forget who sent them up to get this money that crash landed on this snowy mountain on a plane. But it's almost a recreation of that, but just now we're local. Now we're in town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, I couldn't, early '90s, I couldn't pinpoint that movie, but it's another crime movie. It's like almost like you take The Town and you're reversing it. You're not the criminals now. You're not watching the criminals. You're watching the cops. But also, they've got that criminal element to them, even though they're supposed to be the good guys, and it takes you for a little bit of a loop. Like we said, like you start thinking one dude's a piece of shit, then it could be this dude, and it takes you for that, almost like a Knives Out kind of get you thinking about it type of gist to it.
You're putting The Rip in the same category as the Knives Out movies.
Just in the aspect of you have to think about it. Like it gets you thinking like, okay, it could be this dude, but it could be this dude. Like beginning of the movies, you always kind of like put your thumb on it, like, oh yeah, that's that dude. That's the piece of shit right there. That's the bad guy. And then different things happen, and it gets you thinking like, well, I could be wrong. And this one, I was wrong.
Who did you think was the bad guy?
For 3/4 of the movie, I was dead set. It was Matt Damon was a piece of shit. I was like, this dude is a scumbag because he sold it so damn good. Like I bet. If I was one of those dudes in the movie, I would have bet. I was like, shit, this dude's a piece of shit.
So, when we think about the movie team ups, the power pairs, we talked about Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. We had talking about other great actors that come together and make a really good movie. I think that we got some new pairs coming together. We got Jason Momoa and Dave Bautista. and we had Kevin Hart and Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And then back in the day, we had George Clooney and Brad Pitt. I think that Damon and Affleck are maybe trying to put that chemistry together so that they could do a sequel to The Rip, more than likely. I don't know how they're going to do a sequel to The Rip. I mean, because we're kind of going to see what's happening with the whole thing. Maybe it's just a one and done. It's a one hitter quitter. But we know that Hollywood likes money, so that probably ain't the case. But I can't remember having a good movie pair in a really long time, because the last one that I can vaguely remember now is probably Momoa and Batista, and Kevin Hart and Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
So, growing up, the first pair, um, the first power pair I can remember that I thought like was I don't know if you ever watched Grumpy Old Men.
Yep.
Those two, Walter Matthau and forget the other dude's name, but those two, I think really pulled you in. Even though it was a comedy, they pulled you in. It's like, okay. I mean, I was a kid and I thought that shit was hilarious. You know, late '90s, you had Damon Affleck. They started off with a hit, and it got him really noticed. Then a few years later, you get Clooney, Pitt. Nowadays, you've got The Rock, Kevin Hart, Batista, Momoa, and I'm not gonna. The Rock and Kevin Hart, that shit is like the same movie over and over. It's some kind of it's a comedy play. They play off each other, and they're always in a like a comedy duo, which it's all right, but I mean, come on. After 3 times, it's like
Yeah, it was Dwayne trying to be funny. I mean, I think one of his best movies was probably when I seen him do the most acting, I suppose, was The Rundown. It was a movie similar to Good was the last part of the movie that actually resembled Doom. But there's nothing that I thought that I didn't think that Damon and Affleck were gonna pull it off, because I've seen so many bad pairs. And I just watched The Wrecking Crew, the Momoa and Batista movie, and it was a good. You could put that movie on, be on your phone, and watch it. And I think they gave Momoa range to do what he kind of wanted to do, but he's been the same guy like Kevin Hart. He shows up and he's the same guy. He's Momoa with long hair, with his goatee, doing big Momoa stuff. He's just doing big guy shit all the time. And Kevin Hart, same thing, funny little black guy, and Dwayne Rock Johnson being either a big goofball or being the action-packed star. I think he even has a clause in his contract that he can't lose. Like,
right.
he just you can't have him lose a fight or anything. So Hobbs and Shaw was even difficult to film.
Which makes it interesting that they paired him with Batista, because they're kind of two similar guys. Like, they're both just fucking jacked dudes that kind of play that.
Not Batista no more. He's done slimmed down a little bit, because I think that.
Oh, he came out the closet.
He did come out the closet. He
fucked me up a little bit.
He wants to be the little spoon now. So.
Well, yeah, he's pulling that off. He's definitely littler than he used to be. But two. Well, one big dude. One used to be big dude. Now he's a twink. But,
so Batista, Momoa, who's the little spoon?
Oh, fucking Batista is now. Shit, fucking 5 years ago I would have said Momoa, but fucking Batista done flushed that shit. He came out the gates hot, or came out the closet hot, boy.
Are we gonna look back on The Rip and say, like, so 5 years from now, like, man, I'm looking for a good movie to watch. Most people think, Die Hard. We can throw Die Hard on at any given time, besides Live Free or Die Hard. I've probably seen that movie at least 30 million times, and it is not good. And But the original Die Hard, we can look back on it and say, okay, I'm good with that. I'm good for putting that on for the family, for everything. Are we gonna say that about the Rip?
I don't think so. I think it's decent right now. Like I think it's pretty good right now. But I think a couple years down the road, it's one of those movies where you're fucking sick at home watching Netflix and you just hit it like, what the fuck is this? And you, oh, okay. I think it's
So it's gonna fall into the same category as Lucy, or Ava,
Oh, I think it's
or
going to fall in the same category as. I mean, this director made that one in 2006, Smoking Aces. It's gonna be another Smoking Aces.
so Smoking Aces. It was a good movie, but not enough for me to say I wanted a Smoking Aces too.
So, this director, he reminds me of Affleck. Like he will do a good movie and then will do a dog shit movie. So I mean, you get Smoking Aces, which wasn't bad, and then he follows it up with he puts out the fucking A Team, and I don't know if you watched that fucking cinematic garbage, but I would have rather watched Bette Midler fucking sing fucking some fucking nursery rhymes than watch that. That was fucking dog shit. You got Rampage Jackson's Mr. T. They're fucking falling in the sky in a fucking tank.
Almost as ludicrous as how the Fast and Furious movies are going. Like, if for the listeners at home, if you want to know what the A Team was, the A Team was supposed to be a good action flick homage to a classic television show back in the day, and it came out like Fast and Furious 10, doing outlandishly ridiculous things. I didn't grow up with the 18, but I don't think it was supposed to go like that.
No, I didn't grow up with it, but being younger back then, in the '80s, it was on, and I'd watch it, and I didn't think it was terrible, but I mean, shit, in a span of one movie, this dude completely fucked it off. Eddie Murphy, or I'm thinking somebody else.
No, it's a different. It's a different. The guy that they wanted to play Blade, but they couldn't get that movie off the ground because they wanted Blade's daughter to be in it, and I think she was gay. But then
usually it'd be like Idris Elba. They throw his ass in there.
Yeah, they didn't get Idris in there either. But they completely missed the mark with trying to recreate classics. You can't. Who's the guy from Tommy Boy?
Chris Farley?
Chris Farley. You're not going to get another Chris Farley. You're not going to replace him and do another Tommy Boy and get the same reaction. You're not going to...
Another power pair. Chris Farley, David Spade.
David Spade and Chris Farley, yeah. You're not going to recreate that same chemistry. And I think that The Rip reminds me that some actors can play good together. But every single time...
Well, my thing with them in The Rip was you never had them consistently with each other. So you get a little bit of them in the beginning, the middle, not so much, and then in the end is when you really get the pairing. So there wasn't a lot of Damon Affleck interaction as a whole in the movie, but it was sprinkled in there and throughout the.
Is that why they did well? Because they could hold their own screen presence while feeling like they were, together.
I think they could hold it because they're such big names, and people are just, you're drawn to watching them. Your focus is always on, Damon or Affleck, so they can command the screen. And when they're together, which is very limited in the movie, I felt like. Well, for the first 2/3 of the movies, it's hit and miss. The chemistry, the interaction between the two, but there was a lot of it in the final act. So I thought they pulled it off pretty well at the end, and definitely get you thinking. And overall, it was all right. It was pretty good.
For the final part of the movie, they were separated for a long time. For the final part of the movie, Damon was chasing Glenn, and Ben had his own car chasing scene.
Right. I think for the most part, the armored vehicle scene when they're in there, and then you can see Affleck put it together in an instant, and then they start feeding off of it, and then finally exposing you know the corruption right there inside that vehicle. But the chemistry in that, I think you got more chemistry in the damn armored vehicle than you got throughout the movie with those two.
Yeah, the armored vehicle part of the movie was one of my favorite parts of the movie. It's the part that's always going to stick out to me. It was I didn't know who was dirty. I didn't know who was going to end up being dirty. Who, if there was going to be someone getting killed in the armored vehicle before they arrived at the destination. Like it just, I think it was an overall really good scene of tension, and with like the camera and the lights with it going dark and with it coming back, and I was just like, once it goes dark, we're gonna see a gun flash.
Yeah, and then you have you completely forget about the character that's only in there for 2 minutes, which was Affleck's brother, and then they
The
play off that
Fed,
at the end.
yeah.
The Fed, and so I think they brought that back into the fold at the end pretty well, and it ended good. It like I said, it makes you think one thing, and then in the end it hits you with something else.
And that's going to do it for our review of The Rip. Hopefully, we see you and your mama at the next review. Take care.